So, back here with another video. And decided to make a custom video. So, I was thinking about, how the current champs are. And there's obviously a lot of people saying, okay, these champs would do good in this division. Oh, this division is so shallow. These champs would do really good. And I was going to say, let's answer that. Let's answer that question. Will these champs do good in the current division right now? So, obviously, for flyweight, the current division would be Pantoja, Royval, Moreno, Cape, um, all these others. Joshua Van. There's Asama Bayev. There's Steve Ursa. For bantamweight, Marav, Sean O'Malley, Peter Yan, Umar, Corey, and Figgy. And for featherweight, I'd say we can count Ilya Taporia. We'll count Ilya Taporia because he's not really a lightweight yet, and he still has featherweight fights. So, let's count Ilya Taporia, Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and I'm saying Max Holloway because he's had more featherweight fights, and his last fight was a featherweight fight. So, we'll just make it like that. Lightweight will obviously be Islam, Dan Hooker, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Muhammad Sarukian, Charles Oliveira. Welterweight would be Belal Muhammad, Sean Brady, Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman, and a lot of others. And middleweight would be Dricus, Kamzat, Malvoff, Strickland, and let's just put Dolidze, Hernandez, and Kyle Barajo, right? In light heavyweight, there's Ankalaev, Pereira, Jamal Hill, Jan Blachowicz, all these guys. In heavyweight, we could say Blades, we could say Pavlovich, Volkov, and Tom Aspinall, and Cyril Gahn. We'll count those as the new generation of heavyweights. The reason why I'm saying John Jones is because, well, it's not a true heavyweight, but let's start with, honestly, a very interesting pick. Start with Benson Henderson. And I'm going to put Benson Henderson. Honestly, I might put him in the C tier. So let's rename these tiers. So for C tier, we said I'm gonna say make it be champ again, right? So if they did fight, they could be champ again. A would be top 5. They'd stay at the top 5, but we wouldn't go above that. We'll say top 10, and we'll make this like gatekeeper. Gatekeeper position, and we'll say top 15 material, but not quite. And we'll say D is can only be unranked, or we're just trash. Now, the reason why I'm saying Benson Henderson would be top 15 is because before, in his era, the era of the lightweights, I would say it's a lot more shallow than it was before. And with Benson, it's like he would be a fun fighter. He would be a very fun fighter, especially in a grappling heavy division. We need fighters like Benson Henderson, who brought that charm, who got that stuff, who got that charm. And I feel like he would be a good fighter, and I think he would make top 15. I think there would be some people, let's say, like a Benoit Saint Denis or Renato Moicano. Maybe not Moicano, but yeah, I would say Moicano because Moicano's also old too. I feel like it would be a lot more even fight. Benson Henderson, oh yeah, okay, that's tough. I was gonna say current state, but I'm gonna go prime. I'm gonna go with prime. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, well, I think it makes a lot more sense. If it's prime Benson Henderson in lightweight, I'd say it's still top 15. because if it is prime Benson Henderson, it's like the top 10 of the lightweight division is very stacked with like pretty much really good fighters. Like these are the best of the best. Like these fighters will fuck up anybody. And I just don't think Benson Henderson in his prime was that good to go against like maybe like a Dan Hooker or Chandler or Dariush or Gamrot or anything. Like prime Benson Henderson was really good, but he got beat by Frankie Edgar, and it was like I'm gonna just say, like it was kind of I mean, not Frankie Edgar, and Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis. What the fuck am I talking about? He beat Frankie Edgar, but he got beat by Anthony Pettis, and I'd say like that's still Anthony Pettis is really good, but like in his prime, I'd say top 15 because lightweight is very stacked. It's very stacked. And when it comes to the higher divisions, honestly, a lot of the old champs would be everybody and be champ again because it's just they're still shallow. But in the lightweight division, I honestly thought it got better. I feel it's one of the few divisions that got better as it goes. And maybe there are some divisions that used to be skilled, but not really. But I feel like in the lightweight division now, I just think that Benson Henderson would be top 15, but he wouldn't be like, anything above that, because everyone in the top 10 can strike, they can grapple, they can do really good in both departments, and they got power, and they're scary, and they're fast, and they're big, and Benson Henderson, he's well rounded, but he's not like that level. Next, we got Michael Bisping. Um, hmm, top 10. The reason why I'm saying top 10 is because in middleweight division, like the top 10 isn't really that as impressive as a lot of people. I'd say top 5 is very skilled. Like these the top 5 in there are dangerous people. Like you got Dricus, you got Imavov, you got Strickland, you got Kamza, you got Robert Whitaker, and you got Izzy. Like that's the best top 5 you would probably get in like honestly, like one of the best top 5s. In the top 10, when it gets to the top 10, it drops off, especially when you got the Marvin Tories and all that stuff. And I feel like Michael Bisping had in his prime was really good. He was really good. I mean, the fact that he was able to knock out Luke Rockhold, who was a dominant champ, in such short time, it's crazy. And I get really good performances, and I feel like he would definitely be able to win against someone like a Marvin Vittori or a Dolice, and he could definitely win against Hernandez. So I'd say top 10. When it gets to the top 5, you're going against Robert Whitaker. And let's be for real, even when Michael Bisping was in his prime, he was still ducking Robert Whitaker. And then we got, Izzy, who would destroy Michael Bisping. And then we got Kamzat, who's really good wrestler. I think he would definitely do really well against Michael Bisping. Then we got Imavov and Strickland, which I feel like it would be closer, but I feel like they would still beat him because they're so well rounded. And Dricus would destroy Michael Bisping. The reason why I say Michael Bisping really can't do it in the top 5 is because the top 5 were huge people. Like Michael Bisping was a big middleweight, but he wasn't a big middleweight like a lot of the others like Dricus or Kamza or I guess you can even lump I guess you can say Vittori too. Vittori's a big middleweight, but the reason why I say he would win against Vittori and Hernandez is because Vittori and Hernandez don't have really good chins, and I feel like Michael Bisping, he's a really good striker. I think he would find a way to win this. You could definitely survive Anthony Hernandez because he's he has good takedown defense, and with how he did against Dan Henderson, with how he did against GSP as well, I just feel like he's only gotten taken down by like really good grapplers. So I'm gonna go top 10. I think he can still do good. Next, we got BJ Penn. Now, depends. You want me to do welterweight or lightweight? I'm gonna do welterweight because why not? Now for welterweight, I'd say I'd say he can only be unranked guys because he's still a very good submission specialist. For lightweight, I should still say the same. Just because I feel like BJ Penn is just really small for lightweight and welterweight. I mean, he went down to featherweight, and the guys in lightweight, the guys in welterweight, they're huge. They're huge, and I feel like they had just destroyed BJ Penn. It's like we saw this case of Johnny Hendricks. Like he moved up to middleweight, and maybe it was fine before, but I mean, he was going against a Paul Costa, who was huge. Huge. And I feel like I'd be the same thing with BJ Penn. He has the skills to beat him, but he doesn't have the size. And at this point, I wouldn't say he's trash, but I'd say he can only beat on people outside the top 15. Maybe I don't really know, but I think for sure it would be yeah, I just took a nap. Next, we got DC. Oh, now this is a very interesting one. With the current light heavyweight division, I didn't mean I put that there. The current light heavyweight division. Fuck that, bro. You'd be champ again. Now, the reason why I say this is because DC was a fucking monster in his prime, and I'm not talking about the UFC because UFC was kind of his prime, but he was very old. When I'm talking about Strikeforce. I'm talking about fucking even early UFC. This man was a beast, especially at light heavyweight. I mean, this guy was throwing motherfuckers left and right. The way he was destroying people, it's crazy, And I mean, he has the resume to prove it. Apart from Jones and Stipe, he beat everybody else. And he has notable wins. He got Dan Henderson. He got Frank Mir. He got Rumble twice. He got Gustafsson. He got Uzdemir. He got Stipe. Knocking out Stipe in such... he's a big guy. And he was throwing motherfuckers left and right. And with the light heavyweight division, there is a lack of grapplers. And because of that, I actually think that DC would actually become champion. If you fought against the top 5 guy, this is his prime, right? His prime. Now, these light heavyweights would be bigger. They'd be 6'2" plus, and all that stuff. But the thing is, none of these guys are really good grapplers, and we don't really see as many good wrestlers. I'd say the only prominent wrestlers are Krylov and Ankalaev. Those are really the only two. And one hasn't even fought in 2 years. And one couldn't even take down a glory kickboxer. Which is kind of crazy. Because that's the state of grappling. If Alex Pereira can be a thrice defending champ, then you gotta start asking yourself, maybe it's because not the people who he's fighting aren't grapplers. And even with Ankalaev won by the striking. It wasn't the grappling that won him the fight, it was the striking. And because he couldn't even take down Alex Pereira, who literally hasn't even learned wrestling for years. For DC, it would be easy as fuck. He would destroy Alex Pereira. He would destroy Yuri. Well, I wouldn't say he would destroy Yuri, but he would definitely survive Yuri. He would destroy Jamal Hill. And he would destroy Ankalaev. And that's because DC was just so good at what he does. And it's getting people taken down and demolishing him on the ground. He was doing that to everybody. What he did to Dan Henderson was just insane. Because Dan Henderson's a good wrestler. He's the one doing that. And then DC comes in and he ragdolls him. He was able to take Jones down. He was able to take Gustafsson down. He was able to take Stipe down multiple times. He took down so many people. And he was able to finish fights on the ground. And it's crazy because both fights against Rumble, he was an underdog, but he submitted him both times. Yeah, but I'd say he could be champ again. Just because light heavyweight is such a shallow division in terms of grappling. Next, we got Dominic Cruz. Ooh. Dominic Cruz, Dominic Cruz, Dominic Cruz. Now, prime Dominic Cruz. Top 5. The reason why I don't say champ again is because this is a champ. This is a division with Merab, Sean O'Malley, Umar, Corey, and Davis and Figueiredo. Now, in his prime, he was a beast. He was really good. Is he Merab good, though? Not really. And this may be controversial. I don't think he beats someone like a Merab or Sean O'Malley or Peter Yan or Umar. I mean, he could beat an Umar. I'd say like he would have very competitive fights against Umar or maybe a Sandhagen, but Figgy, Figueiredo. I'd say you know what? Never scratch that. He would have a competitive fight against Umar, but I think he beats Corey and Figgy, and that's why I would put him in the top 5. For prime Dominic Cruz, I would, but Peter Yan, Umar, Sean O'Malley, and Merab are just so good. Like, they're really good. Like, the bantamweight division is stacked. And those top 4 are really good. I mean, they're probably really well-rounded. I mean, Sean O'Malley's a dangerous striker. I feel like he would knock out Dominic Cruz. Umar would probably be able to wrestle Dominic Cruz. And I feel like Peter Yan and Merab, I just think they're way too skilled. They're way too calculated to really pose a threat to Dominic Cruz. So I'd say top 5. Next we got what about Mighty Mouse? In the flyweight division, prime DJ would be champion. Now, this is going to be controversial. He beats everybody in the flyweight division in his prime. In his current form, I'd say he would be like a top 5 guy. But in his prime, he would beat everybody. He would beat Pantoja because he was just so good at everything. The striking, the wrestling, the grappling, the clinching, everything. He was the most well-rounded fighter that the UFC has ever seen. And this guy dominated the division, and he defended the belt 11 times. No one will be able to get to that point ever in the flyweight division, or even actually ever in any division, because we don't really see champions stay and defend their belts for so long, And with how the skill gap is increasing in the UFC, it's very hard to defend your belt 11 times. Now, this isn't a flack for me saying DJ had no competition, but DJ was just was just leagues beyond everybody else that. It was a bit of a thing where now his fights weren't even competitive against the top contenders. He beat Benavidez. He had very good fights against Benavidez. He had good fights against Dotson. He had very good fights against Henry Cejudo. I felt like he arguably won against Henry Cejudo in the second time. The reason why he didn't is because the UFC just didn't want him to be champ anymore. Which, we wanted Henry Cejudo because at least he was bringing attention. DJ wasn't really like that. And if you came back, he would beat... If a prime DJ came back, he would beat everybody. Because he's just so much better skill-wise than everybody. And he was really fast. And although a lot of these flyweights are bigger than him, I don't think that's ever mattered to him. He would submit, I wouldn't say he would submit a Pantoja, but he would definitely outstrike a Pantoja. Do what Figgy did to him, just destroy him. And for every other contender, I feel like, I don't know, DJ was just a 1 in a million talent that came to the flyweight division. And that's just the facts. Next. Spice it up a bit. GSP. How would we do in the welterweight division? Prime GSP. Top 5. The reason why I don't say he would be champ again is because I feel like the welterweight division is just really interesting. So when the welterweight that GSP was fighting, was still very stacked, and It had people like Nick Diaz, Carlos Condit. He fought Jake Shields. He fought BJ Penn. He fought so many big names. I feel like, and I'm saying this as a hot take, GSP honestly has a better resume than DJ Ed John Jones because he's fought the best of the best. Literally, like every opponent he's fought is like an underrated fighter. Like, I mean, Nick Diaz, Carlos Condit, Jake Shields, BJ Penn. Like they were either champions or could be champions, and GSP was just leagues above them. The way he did Josh Koscheck is just amazing. And to this day, it's like I'd still say he could do top 5 because he's just really well rounded. He was really fast. The problem is when he gets above that, I don't think he'll be able to beat the guys. Just because Bilal, Sean Brady, Kamaru Usman, Shafkat, like these are big guys, and the skill level in the welterweight division has gone up. These are the best contenders we're seeing. We're seeing a stacked division, but I'd say GSP would still be top 5 because against the Ian Gary, against the Carlos Prates, against the maybe, Jeff Neal, he'd beat those guys, and I feel like he'd beat someone like, a Buckley or JDM. So I think he could still get top 5. But will he be champ? He could, but it's not likely. Let's go with one last one. I want to really make this interesting. Let's go with Jose Aldo. Now for Jose Aldo, I feel like this is an interesting one because Jose Aldo was really talented in his prime, and in the featherweight division, honestly, we're going with that. Now, I think a prime Jose Aldo was just so insanely good. Like, insanely good. Like, this guy was destroying motherfuckers left and right. He destroyed a prime TKZ, although he did have a fairly competitive fight, but he still knocked out a TKZ. And if you look at his resume, he still fought the best of the best. It's not like a padded record. It's not like Jones, or DJ, where it's like either it's less competition or it's old opponents. It's like he's fought the best of the best in the featherweight division. And Jose Aldo's striking power and his takedown defense were really good at that time, and I feel like it still hold up today. So if you're going for the featherweight division, I think he destroys someone like a Yair. I think prime Jose Aldo would definitely be able to beat someone like a Max. I wouldn't say beat Max Holloway, but it would be more competitive than the fight than they had because I felt like prime Jose Aldo died like kind of before the Chad Bendis too. I feel like that's when the prime started to go away, especially when he stopped using the leg kicks. When he stopped using the leg kicks, that's when he stopped being in his prime. If this is prime Jose Aldo with the leg kicks, with the Muay Thai stance, he destroys so many guys because his leg kicks were destroying people left and right. I mean, the way he did Uriah Faber and Cub Swanson, I mean, that's just... And Chad Mendes the first time, I mean, this man was special. And I think he could be champion. Prime Jose Aldo would definitely be able to beat someone like a Volk and a Max Holloway. Because Max Holloway... and we're talking about current Max Holloway. I think he'd still beat him because he would be faster. And for Volk, I'd say the same thing. For Topuria, I think it would be an entertaining fight. I think if we wanted a prime versus prime fight, it would be Jose Aldo versus Ilia Topuria. Like, that would be such an insanely good fight. And I think Jose Aldo would win. He would defend the takedowns. The leg kicks would affect Ilia. And I feel like Ilia's boxing is really good, but I think Jose Aldo in his prime was just really fast, and he had good defense. So, he didn't really get threatened by that. So I think he could be champion. Anyways, that'll be all. See you.